So, considering this is the third Phoenix Wright review done by yours truly on this channel, one could probably assume I'm a fan of the series. Let's get that out of the way really quick. If you like Phoenix Wright, this is great, and you should get it. There's the quick review. Thanks for watching.
Objection!
Oh, you want more details? Is that it? You want me to break it down and tell you what I liked and didn't like? Sounds good. I'm Spencer with the Itch Network, and if there are no objections, let's review Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney: Spirit of Justice for the Nintendo 3DS. While this is a Phoenix Wright game, make no mistake, the story here is all about Apollo Justice. I've heard rumblings, mostly on the internet, of people that don't care for this character, so I figured I should mention that at the outset. I personally don't mind the character, but I do understand people just wanting to play as Phoenix Wright, since it's kind of his series. Anywho, the story starts with Phoenix Wright visiting the distant land of Curain, where his old friend Maya is finishing her channeling lessons. Things immediately go awry, however, and he ends up defending someone in the courtroom. Here he learns of the customs of Curain's court system, which include two main differences. The first is the seance. A young girl named Raifa is gifted in the art of seances, allowing her to reveal a person's last moments alive through the eyes of the victim. More on this later. The other difference is the Defense Culpability Act. Apparently this country had one too many O.J. Simpson cases, because the act condemns defense attorneys with the same punishment as the accused. Therefore, if a man is found guilty of murder and sentenced to death, the lawyer will receive the death penalty as well. Needless to say, it's rare to see a lawyer in these here parts, meaning the crowds are always against you and the cases are high in intensity. The gameplay represents the full evolution of the series so far, including the simple press-present mechanics, as well as the special abilities of the individual attorneys, such as Phoenix Wright's Psych Locks or Athena Psych's Therapy Sessions. The added bonus to these is a brand new mechanic, the aforementioned Seance. You're given the vision, which you can then fast forward or rewind in sections, and you're given an explanation of what happened, which can also be flipped through. As the seance plays, you see not only what the victim sees, but also the other senses the victim had, including taste, touch, smell, and sound. Your job is to find the inconsistency, comparing the explanation with the right scene with the right sensory detail. On paper, this is a brilliant addition to the courtroom. It's graphically exciting to see things through the eyes of the victim. Hint, it's never what it seems. And there are so many fun twists you can include to make it something special. However, I found these sections to be occasionally vague. Trying to match all three parts up at once can sometimes be cumbersome. Oh, you wanted me to say the sound was weird because of this part of the testimony. Gotcha. While they add a lot to the cases, I would prefer more of a nudge in the right direction for these at times. For one in particular, I legitimately spent 30 minutes trying to get exactly where the game wanted me to, and I had the section correct the whole time. This is, however, a puzzle game, so maybe I'm just a scrub, but that's my minor complaint there. There are also some new investigation mechanics, including fingerprint dusting and luminol testing, which reveals blood on surfaces that may have been wiped up after a murder. I love these scenarios. They made me feel like a real detective, solving an elaborate case with hard evidence and cold hard facts, like how they must have caught me on that dark, dreary night during a storm when the sound of a gunshot should have been lost to the cruel howl of the wind. So overall, this is the same great Phoenix Wright gameplay, with some added fun. The only thing that stalled the gameplay a bit was the talking. Don't get me wrong, this is an expertly written game, with jokes that would occasionally make me exhale out of my nostrils quite forcefully. But, kind of like the last game, I wish they would just move the story along at times. I get that this is a visual novel, so reading should be expected, but good lord, these people couldn't enter a courtroom slow enough. And if the dialogue is new, it crawls across the screen at a snail's pace. And the ellipses, oh god, the ellipses. If they removed these parts alone out of the dialogue, I suspect there would be at least a half an hour removed from the playtime. Watching the dots slowly crawl across the screen, then go to the next line and do it again, then switch to another character and do it again, really crawled up my butt and died and gave me a terrible disease that I still need to schedule a doctor's appointment for. But while I'm saying these parts were pretty rough, I'll also say that while the last case feels draggy at times, it's so worth it. The story they were able to weave is quite incredible and must be read to believe. And speaking of reading, the new characters introduced here are fantastic and meld well with the old standbys. Phoenix Wright, Apollo Justice, Athena Sykes all make major appearances, accompanied by newcomers such as Raifa Kurain and Nayuta Sadmadi, in the courts, as well as so many more defendants and villains. My personal favorite was a tragic child who communicated to the outside world via a special mechanic, but I'll leave it at that so as not to spoil the surprise. Visually speaking, this game looks great with drawn backgrounds and detailed 3D-ish character models. Everybody has a handful of exciting animations, from bullets shooting out of a machine gun to animals joining the testimony. The occasional cutscene with voice acting is a welcome addition as well. The music is awesome, though you've probably heard most of it before, minus a few new tracks used for the new location. This is a visual novel though, so no issues there. And so we have it. A predictable Phoenix Wright game with some new mechanics and new characters. If you're a fan of the series, you know what to do. If you're new to Phoenix Wright or visual novels in general, I'd say this is a great way to jump in. I would obviously say it would behoove you to play the games prior, as you will get a better appreciation for the characters, but it's not entirely necessary. And for $30, you can't really go wrong. I give Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice a 5 out of 7.